My lords, ladies and gentlemen, can I firstly extend a very warm welcome to you all here tonight on this, the 12th occasion of the Spirit of Cricket, nay Cowdrey Lecture. And it is, of course, appropriate that the name Cowdrey is associated with this lecture, and it's wonderful to see Christopher, Graham and Jeremy here tonight. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much indeed. Of course, when we remember Colin, I don't think we remember his 7,600 runs in Test matches or 120 catches. We remember the style, we remember the elegance, we remember the ease, we remember the time he had to play his shots and his timing. But we also remember the way he played the game. And that is really the essence of why we're here tonight, the spirit of cricket. The format of tonight is very much as it's been before. Our guest speaker will speak, hopefully. Be a bugger if he didn't. And then we will have a question-answer format run by Mark Nicholas. And we owe a huge debt of thanks to Mark, because Mark does this every year for the last 12 years, and he also promotes the spirit of cricket worldwide. Thank you, Mark, for all you do for MCC's Spirit of Cricket. Don't give him too many applause, please. Go to his head. And then, of course, we have a panel. And on that panel, there are two great players who need no introduction, really, but from different eras. We have Derek Underwood, that consummate slow left-arm bowler for England, who played a lot, of course, with Tony in the same era and played for England and in the World Series. And then we have, of course, Stuart Broad. Thank you for coming tonight, Stuart, in the middle of a busy schedule. There is a passing resemblance between Stuart and Tony at the same age. I hasten to add the same age, Stuart, so you've got to remember that's what you'll look like when you get to that age. But you seem to be breaking records everywhere you go, and it really is a great privilege to have someone from the modern game to talk tonight with Mark and Derek about perhaps the impact of some of the things that our speaker will talk about. And now we come to the main speaker, Tony Greig. And I thought it appropriate, particularly this week when a certain all-rounder has had a go at a certain broadcaster, to remind the assembled audience of Tony's figures. They sometimes get forgotten amidst the hoi polloi of today, the number of games that are played today. Tony played 58 Test matches for England. He scored 3,600 runs at an average of above 40. He then took 141 wickets at 32 and took 87 catches in 58 matches. That's quite an astounding all-round record. I don't think he'll be writing to Mr. Atherton this week. More particularly, Tony is not the first guest speaker at this lecture who was born in South Africa. Of course, we had Bishop Tutu, Barry Richards. He's not the first speaker to have captained England. We've had Geoffrey Boycott, who, from memory, we allowed to captain England on 2 occasions. He's not the first speaker to reside in Australia. We've had Adam Gilchrist. He's not the first speaker to play for World Series cricket. We've had Clive Lloyd and others. And he's not the first speaker to have spent the last 30 years absolutely on the front line of broadcasting and commentating about the game he loves, because we've had Richie Benaud. But I tell you what, he's the first speaker we've had who combines all those attributes. And it's a great pleasure tonight. I can think of nobody better to deliver the Cowdrey Spirit of Cricket Lecture than Tony Greig.
Thank you. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thank you very much, Philip. Mr. President, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to give the MCC Spirit of Cricket Cowdrey Lecture. I consider this a tremendous honour. An honour to acknowledge Colin and have the opportunity to share with you some of my experiences as well as some of my thoughts on the game that we all love. I noticed that both Martin Crowe and Adam Gilchrist paid tribute to their families at the start of their speeches. So I trust you will indulge me if I do the same. I should like to thank my wife Vivian, who's here this evening, for her patience and help in putting this lecture together. I should also like to thank my children, Bo and Tom, who are here with me tonight, and Samantha and Mark, who are embracing the spirit of cricket by listening to this lecture the way we used to listen to the tests 60 years ago in the early hours of the morning. Without their love, support, and understanding of the demands cricket makes on a family and the time of the family, I would not be able to enjoy all that cricket has given to me. When I received my invitation, I immediately wrote down 10 topics I wanted to address. However, after a month's reflection, I thought I shouldn't indulge myself and that it was more important to confine my speech to the spirit of cricket. However, since arriving in England, I've been told repeatedly that before speaking about the spirit of cricket, I must explain my reasons for sacrificing the most coveted role in world cricket, the England captaincy, to become involved with an Australian television tycoon. A quote from the transcript of my meeting with Kerry Packer 5 days after the centenary test on the 22nd of March 1977 gives the best insight into how I felt at the time. Quote, "Kerry, money is not my major concern. I'm nearly 31 years old. I'm probably 2 or 3 test failures from being dropped from the England team. Ian Botham is going to be a great player, and there won't be room in the England test team for both of us. England captains such as Tony Lewis and Brian Close and Colin Cowdrey, Ray Illingworth, Mike Denness, and perhaps even a few more, all lost the captaincy before they expected to do so. I won't be any different. I don't want to finish up in a mundane job when they drop me. I'm not trained to do anything. I went straight from school to playing for Sussex. I'm at the stage in my life where my family's future is more important than anything else. If you guarantee me a job for life, working in your organisation, I will sign," unquote. The previous season, cricket with Waverley in the Sydney Cricket Grade competition created a great thirst to work in Australia. I was not only paid £50,000 for the 5 months' work, but more excitingly, I mixed work-wise and socially with a number of Australia's leading businessmen. This opened my eyes to a world that I didn't know existed. Obviously, there were also key issues with the England administrators that disturbed me, which I felt would never be resolved. I couldn't understand why we were only paid £210 a test when we were playing in front of a packed house or packed houses. The psyche of the administrators, the vast majority of whom I regarded as good friends, was that the honour of playing for England was enough. Money shouldn't be a consideration. Consequently, I couldn't see an end to the game underselling itself, and there appeared to be no hope of expanding the revenue base for Test and county players alike, unless there was a bit of a revolution or at least a big upheaval. Having to make changes to innocuous statements in my books and newspaper articles at the behest of the TCCB at the time was a source of irritation. And having to get permission to take wives on tour and paying more for friends' tickets to the centenary test than I was being paid for playing didn't help much.